Hello, welcome to a Comic Tropes live stream. I'm back home from my trip to New York, so I have my full setup down below. You'll see the chat. Over to the side here is the main drawing area, and so it's nice to be back and actually have sort of my desk and have access to a few more tools, pens, etc. It was hilarious. My make-do setup was basically, oh, thank you, Chrissy. Chrissy just gave me some toast to have with my water. Water and toast. Now, so basically, I had my phone. This was all I had to live stream from when I was in New York. And what I would do is, like, imagine this is like sort of like a mid-sized trash basket. I would, like, put it here, precariously balance this on the edge, and then put a second like trash can on top, so it was just like held in place. It was just leaning down, and that was my setup while I've been in New York, which far from ideal, because also like my hand couldn't go further than the artboard, and I had to have it like butting right up against it. Wow, hello to Twisted Picks, Franco, Cameron. Nice to have some guests in here. I know it's super late, especially compared to what I've been doing, but what can I say? It's just the only way I can get it done. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4 pieces that I was able to finish on the road, as it were. Bait, Frozen, Build, and Husky. So, today's prompt is Enchanted. And I've got an idea that I just came up with. Let me grab a piece of paper here. Well, thank you, Twisted. That's really kind of you. I sincerely appreciate the support. Oh, let me make an adjustment, too, in my settings, because it looks like it's trying to autofocus. Let me just make an adjustment there, and then we'll get started drawing. But if you have any questions, feel free to put them there in the chat, and I'll do my best to answer everything that I can. Alright, let me configure this. Yeah, it's on autofocus, so I'm going to turn that off, and then I think I will try to zoom in a little bit. I think right about there is good. Yeah, and then we can get started with some art. I know it's gross to eat on camera, but I literally just got home. I've been on a plane for 6.5 hours, plus all the other time, taking the subway to get there and car ride home. The theme tonight is Enchanted. I've got an idea. Hope it's a good one. I'm doing well, David. Thank you. Nick, hello. First time you've been able to get on, huh? Great. Thank you for the compliment on the thing drawing, Cameron. I appreciate all that. James Stewart says, welcome back to the Pacific Northwest. Thank you. Before I even get started here with my sketch and my inking, I thought I'd take a quick moment to show you what I picked up at New York Comic Con. So I got a lot of amazing donations. Haven't read this yet, don't really know what it is, but I met a guy named Nick at Oni Press, Oni's table, and they gave me a lot to read, so this looks interesting. Sidekicks that fall in love, I guess. So that's something. I got the second volume of Stumptown, and I really like crime comics, so I really enjoyed the first Stumptown. Since it was getting adapted into a TV show now, I was like, oh, I need to pick back up with that. And yeah, I got to meet the artist, Matthew Southworth, who gave me a nice sketch, and we had a great conversation. Turns out he actually lives not too far from me, about like an hour's drive, if that. Greg Rucka. He's a good crime writer, and I've read the first volume of Stumptown and loved it. There's at least 4 of them out now, though. Strong recommend. Was glad to get that. Swung by the Image booth, and even though I love Rick Remender, I've only read a little bit of 7 to Eternity in like floppy issues, so I picked up the trade paperback of that. That's pretty cool. One that I realize I don't have here right now is I got Rick and Morty Dungeons and Dragons. It's a nice trade paperback. I got to meet Jim Zub, the writer of that, and many other comics. And you know what? He was so nice to me. He approached me because he recognized me. I don't know what some creators look like, but Jim approached me because he actually has watched the show, and he told me that he liked it, and that meant a lot. That was really, really nice to hear. So that was another book that I was able to pick up, and I love Rick and Morty. Here's a little piece of trivia. Before Justin Roiland did Rick and Morty, he did lots of cartoons and stuff, and he also, for a while, did a hilarious podcast called the Grandma's Virginity Podcast. I find it, hilarious. And I used to do some of the episode art for episodes of that. I think I did, about 5 illustrations for that they used for the episode art. And so anyway, yeah, that was pretty... That was... I know him a little bit. I know Justin a little bit. So that's my connection to the Rick and Morty universe. Barely. What else did I pick up? I picked up the first 5 issues of Excellence. I've known Carrie Randolph for about 19 years now. And he and his amazing colorist, Emilio Lopez, signed the first 5 issues. I had actually proofread these, so I'd seen them digitally because I proofread all of Skybound stuff, but I didn't have hard copies. So it was nice to be able to pick that up. Definitely recommend Excellence. No matter what. First of all, it's a cool story, but beyond that, great art. Just great. Yeah. I think that a lot of people would enjoy this. I think it's really cool. Are there questions? Jim Zub is an underrated writer. He is. Jerome is an amazing artist. Yeah, Jerome Opeña is one of the best out there. Thoughts on Movie Split and how it portrays people with dissociative identity disorder as superheroes? Oh, yeah, I sort of see what you mean there. Or sort of supervillains. It's nothing new to comics, though, is it? It's a fairly nuanced take. Nuanced enough for a pulpy movie. Actually, I don't know why I'm opening this, but I picked up a special issue by of G.I. Joe with they did a convention exclusive, printing the covers like the action figure art for various Snake Eyes versions, and my favorite version is version 2, so I picked this up. It's issue which issue is this? Trying to remember. 266. So it's a recent issue. And I got it signed by Larry Hama, the writer. I'm definitely a fan of Larry Hama's. I grew up, G.I. Joe was one of the first comics I ever read regularly, and I really loved his run on Wolverine with artist Mark Silvestri. So that was a pleasure to get that signed by him. That definitely meant something to me. Here was a great discovery. Artist Isaac Goodhart is somebody that I wasn't familiar with, but he called out to me from his table because he also watches my show, and that was awesome. And Isaac, I guess, won the Top Cow contest to discover a new artist, and anyway, he draws this, and this is a crime comic. I love crime comics. I was just talking about how much I love crime comics with Stumptown, and this art is definitely like right up my alley. This is the kind of sort of realistic, shadowy stuff that I personally enjoy. I don't need always super flashy. So that was really, really nice to get this. This was a great discovery, something that I wasn't aware of before. What else? Oh, Image also like was giving away a bunch of like free stuff, so they made me take like Dr. Pepper, and of course I've been proofreading Super Dinosaur since forever, but they reprinted it as a $1 comic, but they were giving it away at the convention. So stop meowing. My cat is like really excited that I'm home, so if you hear that, like that's yeah. Postal is based on the video game franchise? No, just a crime comic called that. I'm not an expert on it yet. These are just things that I picked up. I haven't read them all. Also given to me at Oni Press, because Oni recently bought Lion Forge. That was actually somewhat controversial how that all went down, I guess. But anyway, superhero comic written by Gail Simone, and Gail is definitely a creator I'd love to cover on this show at some point. So always cool to see like writers get to have the freedom to sort of just tell whatever kind of story they want. Hopefully that's good. I met again at the Oni booth. I met Magdalene Visaggio. This is one of her recent books, Morning in America. The art looks amazing. Just really, really cool. I don't know what to expect out of this, but I'm excited. Yeah, again, like most of these I don't know too much about. Like Oni was very generous with me. Did I see any celebrities? Did I see any celebrities? That's a good point. You know, I didn't really I didn't bother to go to any panels or anything, and so I met plenty of comics creators, but now that you mention it, I guess I didn't see any of the celebrities. Like, for instance, I know that Margot Robbie showed up as a surprise guest at DC. I could see that was like, you know, like getting a lot of attention, but I didn't walk over and see that. Looked too chaotic, which is saying something. And then who plays Jean-Luc Picard? Patrick Stewart apparently was there too. So no, I didn't see him. That I would have liked to have seen them. Anyway, this is Xander Cannon's Kaiju Max. Well, I love monsters, so this is potentially something I could enjoy, and it looks like it's pretty funny. So that could be really cool. We'll see. It's something about, like, I think a prison for big monsters. Something like that. Daniel, and I don't know if he says his name Hader or if it's just the initials like HDR, but Daniel has been like watching this channel since towards the beginning, and I saw him in Artist Alley, and he really encouraged me to visit his home country of Brazil, told me all about a big Comic-Con that they have there, and he was kind enough to give me one of his sketchbooks, and he's definitely a really talented artist, you know. He's working on, well, let's see, I think that Battlestar Galactica with Dynamite is what he's doing right now. But he can do kind of anything. Anyway, so that was nice to get. I'm almost done, and then I can get started in earnest on my drawing. But then finally, these are two huge hits that Oni has had. Definitely, like, you know, family-friendly, all-ages type books. The Tea Dragon Festival and the Tea Dragon Society. So that was another nice gift from Oni. Can't wait to read that. So I think that aside, and then like of course that the Rick and Morty book that I don't have in front of me. I left it upstairs in my house. I think that those are the all the comics I picked up. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, Margot Robbie was there, and it was unannounced, so it was a huge huge surprise for everyone. Hi, Chibi. My kitty that's meowing is named Chibi. She's a tiny little thing, and I think she's just happy that her owners are home, but she's maybe a little confused because I've been gone almost a week. Hi. I'm just reaching down to pat her. That's why you don't see my head. So yeah, time to do artwork. That took a long time, didn't it? Thanks for being patient. I think some people will be interested just because, you know, going to Comic-Con is definitely a big event, and but I'm back. I'm ready to get into the swing of things with the show. And yeah, today's prompt is Enchanted, and I'm taking like a pretty evil spin on that. I'm going to illustrate an Evil Dead deadite. Meow. Fight Club 2, is it good? I haven't read it, so I'm not sure. Looks like a good haul. It is a good haul. It is a good haul. It was very. I get offers online to, you know, like, for people to just send me a comic, and I always decline online because I don't want to just take stuff. It's a little different in person because the person is right there and like offering it to you, like not saying like, hey, can you do a review of this? They're just saying like, hey, I'd love for you to have this. And it felt like rude to not accept such a kind donation. So it like I'm just a little conflicted sometimes because I really don't want to like have the appearance of impropriety. Like, I don't want people to think that I'm accepting comics and will, in exchange, do a good review. So I've always been very resistant to accepting anything, but, well. But I was really, I don't know. The convention was so fun. I no first issues. I mean, I picked up like issue 1 of Excellence in 7 days, if that's what you mean. I mean, that was in there. And a lot of those are firsts for me. I haven't like read most of those comics before. So, yeah. Just figuring out like the basics of where I'm gonna go with this drawing. And I'm looking forward to inking it soon. Oh, you can't barely see what I'm doing right now. I'll try to hurry up and get started because I know I've been live streaming at this point for like 20 minutes and you're not even really seeing any art. Sorry. That's not awesome. Get it together, Chris. I saw some movies on the airplane. Only one of them was any good. When I went out to New York, I mentioned this already, but I saw the X-Men movie. I didn't care for it. Dark Phoenix. Wanted to like it, just couldn't. it was kind of a mess. It started out okay, but it degenerated. Coming back, like today, I saw, what did I see? I saw Yesterday by Danny Boyle, and I liked that. That was pretty good. I saw Booksmart, which was kind of funny, but not like really laugh out loud funny. It was good for the airplane, but that was about it. It was well intentioned. I don't know. It was okay. It was okay. And then I saw the Pokemon movie, Detective Pikachu. Again, okay. Nothing great. Nothing great. When was the last time I had pizza? Oh, I had a little bit last night with my. I was with my friend Evan, and we had some food at his house, and I had some pizza. Mm-hmm. What else? Oh, I saw Joker this morning in the theater when I was still in New York. Oh, and I have to tell the Walrus story. Real quick about Joker. Yeah, ultimately, I didn't care for it. I didn't think it was that good. I thought that Joaquin Phoenix gave a great performance. As an actor, he did a great job. He made that character feel believable and definitely, like, had to portray a lot of different stuff, and he did that well. So, no complaints with the performance. I just felt it was, like, just trying to, I don't know, it was like, Joker in name only. It was more like some sort of remake of Taxi Driver or the King of Comedy. It was much more like one of those, which did it much better, in my opinion. And it was kind of like I feared it would be, where it was just sort of miserable, like, of course his life is terrible and it pushes him to the edge, but it's not like it's a new character, and I was like, oh, maybe he'll find a way to fight back against these bad influences. No, it's like I knew he was the Joker, it's called Joker, so he's destined to turn into a murderer. So I didn't really want to feel sympathetic to the character, because I was like, well, he's going to make a choice at some point, and sure enough, I won't spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but if it's not a spoiler, I don't think, to say that he kills people, and he kills a lot of innocent people. It's not a tragedy, really, because I already knew that this was the Joker. I don't know. It all felt inevitable. You can't improve on King of Comedy. You really can't. That's a great movie. That's a really great movie. So, and underrated, I'd actually argue. I don't think that many people these days seem to know about it. So, worth a watch. Thoughts on love tunnel fight sequence in Dark Knight Returns graphic novel? Is it the best Batman and Joker fight? It's definitely, I guess, one of their better ones, since you mention it. Yeah, maybe it is the best. Interesting observation. Joker was confusing because he seemed to be having hallucinations throughout the movie. Yeah, he did have a few. I didn't feel it was hard to guess when he was. Thank you, Rother. I'm going to try to pick up my kitty. I think she wants attention. I scare you, Danny? Sorry to hear it. The Joker had a lot of parallels with the King of Comedy. Definitely did. I mean, I don't think that, even the set that that guy Murray has looks like the set that Jerry Lewis's character has. The fact that Robert De Niro's in it. Yeah. So I have a Walrus story. Oh my God, this was so disturbing. So I went to the New York Aquarium while I was out in New York, out in Coney Island. And I can't tell who told this story basically, but I was talking to some people in New York, and I mentioned that I had gone to the aquarium while I was there, and they said, "Oh my God, I got to tell you about like my neighbor who used to work there." Like, your neighbor? And what's the big deal? And they were like, "So this guy like just seems off, you know? He's like late 40s, maybe early 50s, lives with his mother, just like stares at people in the building but doesn't really talk to them." And then like one day he was like walking down the hall and then like walked right back to these people and goes like, he just walks up to them and says without any emotion, "They let me go at the New York Aquarium. I don't work there anymore." And these people had like never had a conversation with him before. And they're like, "Oh, sorry to hear it." And he goes, "Yeah, Human Resources said that they had to let me go because I raped a walrus. I didn't do it." Pretty weird to just get told by somebody that's essentially a stranger, right? "I got fired because I raped the walrus." What? Oh my God. That sounds just like the worst thing to be told by someone. Somebody that you don't know. You're just going to be like, where is this going? Do I need to fear for my life? It is weird that he would be fired for that. I don't think it's that weird. I think that would be a good reason to fire someone. I don't know if that's even possible, to be honest. I don't know if that's doable. So, is it true? Who knows? Who knows? Just a creepy story I heard while I was down there. Was he the deep? He was just a guy, which maybe makes it more terrifying. Just a guy who seems to have a mental condition that makes it somewhat plausible. But I just don't know if that's even possible. Like, a walrus could fight back, right? And like, hurt you. It's got tusks and stuff. I don't know. It was a weird thing to be told, though. Like, who would volunteer that information, no matter what? Nicholson or Ledger? Oh, I'd definitely give it to Ledger. Don't get me wrong. Jack Nicholson was a blast as the Joker. He was really, really fun. But it's a pretty campy performance, and whereas I would say Ledger's was really, like, fascinating and nuanced and just interesting. Just like a total agent of chaos. Whereas, like, you know, Nicholson's was off, but he was just a gangster, you know? He was still a gangster. Meow. He had to have meant a stuffed doll. Well, he did work at the aquarium, so I don't know. And he did get fired, so he got fired for something. Walking up to random people and saying off-the-wall stuff is the best. You ought to try it one day. Well, saying that is one thing, but when you can, like, verify that some of it is true, like, you know, these people knew that he did work at the aquarium and that he got, you know, fired. Or at least they believed that part. I'm inking primarily with my technical pen tonight, mostly because all of my sort of brushes are not in great shape, so I need to get some new ones. Hopefully I can before too long. Were any of you that are in the chat room at the at the New York Comic Con by any chance? And sorry, there's a question from Gantris. Do I have a favorite DC Black Label story? So far, it'd be like the White Knight books by Sean Gordon Murphy. He's just a creator I really, really like. So, yeah, it's super cool to be reading his sort of own Batman universe stuff. I like it. I like it a lot. What else? How often does your hand cramp? Well, not too often, because most of these live streams that I do, are only about, an hour or so. My hand won't really cramp within that kind of a period. It takes more like, 5 hours or so for it to start cramping up. Chibi, I don't know what you want. I'm here. You've got a clean litter box, you've got food, you've got water, you've got me. I don't know what she's meowing about. I hope she's just excited to see me. Sean draws the best cars, right? Oh my god, yeah, his cars and especially motorcycles are incredible. I love it. I love it so much. The only one that can even come close to like how good he is at drawing like motorcycles is somebody like Kim Jung-gi. But the cool thing about Sean Gordon Murphy is he produces monthly comics. Her problem is that she doesn't have your undivided attention. You could be right, Cara Bear. You could honestly be 100% right. I think she does want my full attention, and because I just got home. I've been gone for 5 days. I think my cats actually like me. So they like to spend time with me. Yep, there she goes again. Yeah, I'm talking about you. I've got a second cat here, and he's just hanging out like right underneath me, rubbing up against me. He's not talking and whining. Just my little girl. She's making a scene. What a baby. Did anyone read any news coming out of the Comic-Con, New York Comic-Con this past weekend that was exciting to hear? I didn't follow all the news coming out of it. I just tried to experience whatever I could experience. After the Comic-Con, there was a memorial, a tribute for Stan Lee. I didn't go. I didn't feel like it was really my place to go, although I think it was open to the public. But a lot of older, longtime Marvel creators did attend, and it sounds like it was a really sweet ceremony, and it helped a lot of people get some closure to somebody that was, however you feel about him, a huge force in the industry for a long, long time. So. Yeah, that's nice that a lot of people were able to get the closure that they wanted and that they needed, and just sort of reminisce about good times. Besides McFarlane's world record, not much. Yeah, I'm a little confused exactly about what his world record is. Could somebody explain? I haven't had time to read that. Was it just that because Spawn passed 300 issues or something? If so, I still don't feel like it quite compares to Dave Sim's accomplishment, because Dave Sim wrote and drew every issue of Cerebus. McFarlane didn't write and draw every issue. I mean, he worked on it, but he didn't put the same investment in. Did I watch the Ash vs. Evil Dead TV show? Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Evil Dead. I'm a big fan of Bruce Campbell. He's awesome. Yeah, in my opinion, I'll be more impressed when Eric Larson has passed 300 issues of Savage Dragon, because again, that's a series that he's written and illustrated every issue of, which I think is a pretty important distinction. I don't know. Maybe there's something I'm missing. I don't know if Larson said that his goal was to beat Dave Sim or not, but I think he probably will. It'll take a while, but yeah. Oh, it's the creator-owned aspect. The longest-running creator-owned comic. Okay. Well, then that's true, I guess. Yeah. All right, I guess with that distinction in mind, I do see what Spawn has accomplished, and I definitely give it props for that. I was thinking of it more in like just terms of like, you know, a personal sort of achievement, but the comic itself is a creator-owned comic, and it's run for over 300 issues, so that is an accomplishment. Yeah, I get it. Do I like Ramita or Ditko's Spidey better? Probably Ditko's, but I like them both. They are different, but I do think that I like Ditko's a little better. He's the original, and I think like his sort of skinny, awkward Spider-Man, there's just something inherent about that take on the character that works for me. So yeah, I'm just trying to draw a deadite. Specifically this, I think this character's name was Ed in Evil Dead 2. I don't know if that's obvious that that's who I'm drawing, but that is. He's sort of like a preppy guy that gets possessed. And yeah, I don't know. He just had a really cool look in my opinion. There's a lot of cool looks to various Deadites across the Evil Dead franchise. What other questions? Evil Cone, I would like to thank you. Because of you, I was able to read comics like El Eternata and All My Heroes Are Junkies. Both are now one of my favorite comics. Well, that's so cool to hear. Thank you. Let's see. Compared says, "Hi, Mr. Tropes. Love the videos. How are you doing today?" I'm doing very well. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm rereading Avengers vs. X-Men, and JRJR's artwork makes the action feel so cartoony and blah. I kind of want to redraw the entire series myself. Okay, more power to you. I don't love everything that John Romita Jr. does, but I do like most of what he does. His style works for me. I like those sort of blocky figures. Definitely reminds me of stuff like Kirby. I think he does a really good Spider-Man. And He had a great run on what do you call it? X-Men when he was younger. But I think that his work sort of varies based on the deadlines he's given, and he'll just hit his deadlines. And if he's got more time, his work is better. And if he's got less time, his work can be more cartoony, more simplified. Yeah, his Thor was awesome. I agree. I do agree. Yeah, I've read Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol run. Definitely pretty interesting stuff. Yeah, I think he, aside from well, no, I think it's kind of a definitive run. Honestly, I think like ever since Grant Morrison's take on the characters, that everyone's sort of been trying to do a very similar thing. So before that, they were just sort of like slightly awkward misfit superheroes, and ever since Grant Morrison, they've been more like surreal type like just freaks. Like, it's hard to describe, but they've I think he changed them, and for the better. He made them unique and memorable for what they are now. Throg was pretty funny. Yep. Let's see. If you ever do... Oh, no, they're talking to each other. Okay, let's see. Dio says, "Hey, Chris, great job on keeping up with Inktober. If that's a zombie, I'm running the other way." More than a zombie, this is, like, one of the Evil Dead, which is close to a zombie, but more intelligent. It's just demonic. Like demons possess both the living and the dead. So yeah, the Evil Dead are sort of more about demonic possession than anything else. If you like the Evil Dead, it's something that's kind of funny is in Italy they'll often make sort of unofficial, or more like unlicensed, adaptations and sequels to things. For instance, there's Zombie, which is supposedly in the same world as George Romero's Dawn of the Dead type movies. In Italy, they made this series called La Casa that was basically supposed to be continuations of the Evil Dead universe. And I believe the fourth one that they made may have had David Hasselhoff, if I'm remembering correctly. It's been a long time since I've read up on those. But, yeah, it's pretty weird stuff. If Dave Sim got that fight he wanted with Jeff Smith's, who did Bone, who do you put your money on? Jeff Smith, he's younger. Yeah, I think he looks bigger. Briscoe County Jr. Oh, Gene, why are you up so late? That's my sister on East Coast time. We both enjoyed watching that together, didn't we? That was good. Wish it continued. Yeah, Jack Jones is saying that what I said earlier is right, that like Zombie is an unofficial sequel to Dawn of the Dead. Man, my sister like put up with so much in terms of like me like wanting to watch certain things of entertainment, and she just went along with it because she was a good friend. So she would watch like things like Evil Dead with me and stuff growing up. Star Wars. Things like that. She would go to the comic book store with me, even though she wasn't like quite as, gung-ho about it all as me. I appreciate it, Gene. It was fun. Favorite member of the new Teen Titans? Probably Beast Boy. Which movie was it where a zombie fought a shark? That's Zombie. We listened to Evil Dead clips on tape. Oh, yeah. Sometimes it's called Zombie 2. Sometimes it's called Zombie. Like, the naming conventions are tough. Favorite of the Evil Dead movies? Probably Evil Dead 2. But, Army of Darkness is definitely close. Hi, meow. Thank you for your support, Chibi. I remember a zombie fighting a shark underwater in that movie. Yep. Am I a fan of the recent Doctor Who? You know what? I haven't gotten to see the most recent season. Definitely want to. But I'm sure I'd enjoy it because I've never not liked Doctor Who. And if I can get through the 6th Doctor, I can get through anything. Doesn't mean I like every episode per se. But in general, I just like the idea of Doctor Who. So I kind of enjoy it all. It's tough to be home after a vacation that you had so much fun at. It's like it's relaxing to be back at your own place and everything, but I was having so much fun in New York. It's right back to work tomorrow morning though. Never seen Doctor Who. Where to start? Honestly, Raul, you can start with any Doctor, and I recommend just starting with the 9th. From 2005 when they brought the show back. After that, you start to understand what it is. You can skip around throughout the mythology, basically skip around to different Doctors. Hi, little kitty. You want a pat? Yeah, you're good. Anybody else out there a cat person? I think dogs are probably more popular, but while I like them, I'm definitely more of a cat guy for some reason. Just always found them relaxing and cute. I like cats. I have a cat and his name is Onyx. Aww. Cat and dog. I have a black cat. It's a bag of love. They are. I'm allergic to both. I understand. I like both, but I'm deathly allergic. Yeah. Cats rule. Dogs kind of drink. Oh, okay. I was a mountain lion in a previous life. Well, you must really like cats, Mark. I'm definitely a cat person, says Care Bear. 2 dogs and a cat from Samuel. Oh, dogs kind of stink. Not every dog. There's lots of different breeds. That's the cool thing about dogs, is there's lots of different breeds. Hello, Anja. Hello, Dionysian. Hello, Jojo. Yeah. No, there's definitely advantages to dogs. Like, I like how they like to go on walks as well. I loved walking my sister's dog, Oreo. He was a fantastic border collie. I loved that dog so much. I can still get emotional. He's been gone for a long time now, but I can still get emotional thinking about him. He was just such a nice, loving, and smart dog. He really changed my opinions about dogs. I used to be scared of them. Are you a perfect bound or saddle stitch? Perfect bound. Did my question just get censored? Not by me, no. Pit bulls are awesome, yep. Is it a rule that 3 color cats are always female? Oh, like tortoises? I think that's true. My sister would know. Oh, I'm sorry, Jorge, that you lost your dog. You get a tattoo dedicated to... That's really nice. Care Bear says, despite my username, I'm not a bear person. Definitely don't want to make anybody sad. It's late at night, and so I'm not thinking ahead. I'm tired. But, yeah, just having fun with this ridiculous drawing of a monster. Appreciate having some company here, because it is pretty late. Yeah, I think my favorite thing about like my trip just now was definitely, going to New York Comic-Con. Big surprise. The comic book guy had fun at Comic-Con. But after that, it was really just hanging out with my friends, of course, and I went to a great event called Pickle Festival on the Lower East Side on Sunday, and it was really fantastic. There was some great pickles and pickle stuff. I had a really fun time at that. That was different. It was fun to do something that different, and like it was a huge crowd. What a popular event they've created there. I don't know how many years they've been doing it, but it was really just like really popular. It was only about like 5 blocks long. Well, 5 blocks is actually a pretty sizable amount, but the crowd was massive. Seemed like it was definitely like primarily locals as well, which is just kind of cool to be able to participate in something like that and still enjoy it and have fun. Pickles. Hello, Software Agents TV. Drawing looks like Solomon Grundy. Yeah, I could see that. It's definitely meant to be more of like, a possessed deadite. That's because the prompt is Enchanted. But hey, what's his name? Solomon Grundy is kind of enchanted too, so it's not wrong. It looks exactly like the dude from Evil Dead 2. Well, I hope so. Thanks. What am I eating? Just toast. That's all I've had. I didn't have time to do anything. But I needed something, so my fiance made me some toast and some water. It looks like Ash. Yeah, I would have done his hair a little differently if it was Ash. This guy, who I'm pretty sure was named Ed, just had like sort of a mop of blonde hair, and a really big forehead. If anything, I probably could have made this forehead even bigger. Everybody excited for Rick and Morty coming back next month? I am. I like that show quite a bit. I've been watching Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon for a long time. I mean, you guys saw when I did my review of Scud the Disposable Assassin, and some of that was co-written by Dan Harmon, one of the co-creators on Rick and Morty. And I've been watching his stuff on... he created this thing called Channel 101, if you don't know. When Dan moved out to LA, he and his buddy Rob Schraub started this fun sort of contest. It ends up being mostly like comedy, but basically all you do is you make a 5-minute show each month. The best of them get selected by a committee and are aired to a live audience in a movie theater, and the audience votes on which ones they like most, and those get selected to make another episode the following week. But of course they're also in competition with the new shows. And Dan was always creating great stuff like Laser Fart and Computer Man, and Justin did a lot of really fantastic cartoons and weird shows. Oh man, like Channel 101 in the early 2000s was like one of my favorite things ever. I just like could not wait. So many good shows there, like Yacht Rock, and, Tales from Railroad Times, Past the Pigs. If this sounds weird, all I can say is head over to Channel 101. It's all archived there. It's totally worth like watching if you haven't seen it before, or if you have seen it, maybe you haven't seen it lately. Go back and check it out. The Comic Tropes intro song is very catchy. Thank you. Have you considered watching any of Rob Schraub's films, or have you in the past? I'm pretty sure I've seen everything Rob Schraub has done. So, like, I'm trying to remember, there was like a robot in space movie that he made. There's a bunch of stop motion animation stuff. There's his movie Jaws 4, which you can't find on the internet anymore. Oh, my cocaine. It's too much to describe, but essentially Rob Schraub made his own movie about Jaws 4 without having seen Jaws 4, and the shark was played by his penis. That's pretty much everything you'd need to know about that. House of Cosby's. Of course, House of Cosby's is a classic. The Adventures of Doc and Marty. There were a lot of like sort of shows that were very much like Rick and Morty before Rick and Morty existed, like that Justin made. There's like I don't know. There's just like about 5 different cartoons he did with like similar ideas and voices. Yeah, I remember Wizard People, Dear Reader. Wizard People, Dear Reader. Snake does not like this. I like Twilight Zone. Someone had a good suggestion. That I paint the background black, but leave the character's shirt white. I don't know if my pen will last, but I'm gonna put in some work on that, and then just take questions, so. Give me some time here and just start asking questions, and I'll answer them to the best of my ability, especially since you guys are up pretty late. I never missed an issue of Wizard. Oh yeah, I read Wizard for from issue. I think I jumped in on issue 9. It might have been earlier, but I think it was 9. If 9 was the one with Venom on the cover, and I got the other issues because I was like, oh, this is cool, and I was able to track down the other issues. So I was reading it from the beginning, basically. I don't remember what issue I would have sort of given up on, but at some point it sort of just became all they would talk about was which comics were having movies or TV shows coming up based on them, and I was like, I want to see interviews with creators and deep dives into the history and stuff, and it just wasn't what they were doing. It was very silly and shallow, and I was just like, enough about the movie stuff. When the movies come out, great, I'll check them out, but it got old, just reading all this news about, movies. I'm like, how about a little bit of info about comics? But if you like your memories of Wizard, I definitely recommend the YouTube channel Cartoonist Kayfabe, where Ed and Jim go through every past issue and use that as sort of a jumping point to discuss various creators and comic book history. It's a great idea that I'm kind of jealous about. It just seems like so much fun to review comics that way. They do a really nice show, and they're both professionals, so they're both talented writer artists as well, and it means that their opinions are coming from an educated and informed point of view is all. They know their stuff. I'm Michael Caine. Some men just want to watch the world burn, Master Wayne. Got an issue? Here's a tissue. Michael Caine. Great actor. Very easy to do an impression of his accent. Why do we pick ourselves up, Master Wayne? Because we fell down. There, that's close to his line. What do I think of Arkham Asylum, A Serious House on a Serious Earth? I really loved it when I read it in 88, 89, somewhere thereabouts. I would say that Dave McKean's artwork definitely holds up. It's creepy. It's different. And there's some things to like in there. So some takes on the various villains. I don't know that it doesn't feel as original now, but we're 30 years past when it came out, and so a lot of what was unique in it at the time just doesn't feel as original now, and that's no fault of the author or anything. It's okay. It's worth a read. You're not going to have a bad time reading it. Where can I get that figure in the thumbnail? I don't know. It might be by Nika. But I'm not sure. Sorry. Poorly remembered movie quotes has good sketch material. You're probably right. Hi, James Bond. Have you ever been recognized while selling cars? Yes. Only like twice, but yes. It's a little embarrassing. It's flattering, but it's also a little embarrassing because you're like trying to work and stuff. It changes the dynamic because the people feel like they know you and you don't know anything about them. Since you're obviously an Evil Dead fan, how do you feel about Reanimator? Reanimator's a pretty fun movie. Yeah, I like that first Reanimator movie. I think Jeffrey Combs is pretty amazing in it. Well, this pen's dead. I think, yeah, there's a lot to like in that. Some good special effects in there too, like practical special effects with like headless bodies, headless head. No, what am I trying to say? Bodiless heads, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Getting tired, folks. Let's see, how long have I been doing this? Oh, just over an hour, so I guess I've sort of hit my self-imposed obligation where I try to go an hour every day. It's also been a long day, so I feel like I'm getting kind of quiet in between. I had like some of my stories that I wanted to tell. Oh, but then again, like I took like almost 20 minutes talking about like, you know, the convention and stuff, so I'll still like go for at least another 10 minutes. Alright, I'm sorry that I'm not answering questions. I'm going to look at like the chat room in just a sec. What is your plan next episode for Comic Tropes? Well, I try not to just tell people like ahead of time, but it's more horror comics. I'll say that. And if you're a patron, then you actually already know because my patrons got to vote on which four comics I'd review this month. Oh, whoops. I was doing all that painting and I forgot to do a little bit of it. Oh, thanks for saying that. Let's see. Rother says that liked my Johnny the Homicidal Maniac review. Well, I appreciate that. That one took some research because it had been a long time since I'd read that. All right, what else is being asked? Barbara Crampton, she's cool. Yeah, it's been a real sir. Have a good night, you guys and ladies too. Well, thanks for jumping in, Sean. Appreciate it. It was a staple of your high school years. Am I familiar with Claudio Sanchez? I don't think I am. It's not ringing a bell. So, the name in and of itself, no. Have you ever heard of the artist Diego Frias? I have not. He's a super talented artist and independent comic illustrator. That's cool. That's cool. How many comics do you read a week? Not necessarily that many. It's when I'm doing like a review, I may be like, rereading anywhere from like 1 to, 60 issues, like jumping back and forth to like, refresh my memory and everything. And then like for new stuff, I'm only picking up about like, 2 or 3 new comics a week. And it's not a guarantee that I'll read them within that week. I may have to like, put that off a little depending on how busy I am. So I'm not reading that many right now. I mostly like focus on what I've decided to review. I do pick up some new stuff so that I'm sort of staying in touch and can like, ask the shop what's selling well and stuff like that. I like to ask questions like that. And then I will pick up comics as well based on like, what's either selling really well or has been in the news or has gotten like, like certain reviews, so that like, I'm like, well, is this potentially something that my audience would want to hear my take on? I don't know. So definitely all stuff that I'm thinking about. I've picked up comics based on your vids. Oh, that's really cool to hear. I just want people reading comics and enjoying stuff. Good thing you checked out Immortal Hulk. I wouldn't have gotten into it otherwise. I really like Immortal Hulk. I think that one's something special. What are the comics that have been the most influential for you? No, I'm not in New York anymore. I'm in Seattle. Let's see, hold on. Living in Japan, I've had to go all digital with my comic reading. I miss the physical copies from time to time. Yeah, I understand, but I do appreciate that, like, digital takes up less space. I do appreciate that quite a bit. And then, oh, shoot, what was the question I missed? I'm getting tired. Finally watched all of Stranger Things. I like Stranger Things. I start to read a lot of comics, but rapidly lose interest other than what Chris recommends. Well, that's cool. What's my favorite Grant Morrison book? Oh, that's an interesting question. You know what? It might just be his New X-Men run. I really enjoyed his run on New X-Men. Oh, no, wait. I take it back. All-Star Superman by Morrison and Quitely. Yeah, I think that that's my overall favorite thing that I like by Grant Morrison. That's a really great read, by the way. The 12 issues of All-Star Superman. That's just something special. It really encapsulates a lot of like what Superman is, and overall it's hopeful, which is nice. And I think it's hopeful in a not schmaltzy way, like a very sort of honest, earned way. And when you can do that, like, and send somebody home happy, I think that's definitely an accomplishment. Another really good one that I liked by Morrison is We Three, which is about like some pets that get turned into like cybernetic assassins, I believe, by the government, but then they like rebel against their programming to try to get home to their owners, which is just heartbreaking and sweet, but it's like violent and crazy. Cat, a dog, and a bunny, and they all talk in really weird ways, based on their personalities. It'll break your heart a little bit, but it's sweet. It's a good read. Oh, hold on. There's a super chat here. Let me make an adjustment over here so I can say it. Sorry that I missed it. Okay, Samuel, thank you. I guess this drawing worked great. Sometimes it is not about what we choose to ink, but what we choose not to, right? It is. Yeah, I wanted to sort of do some more details at first on, like, this shirt and stuff, but I think if I leave it like less detailed and just put some more inked details like on these hands, that's probably going to look better overall. And just leave the shirt mostly not super detailed. I just need to put at least a few lines in, but not too many. Thank you for the super chat, Samuel. That's really, really nice of you. Oh, yeah. Some Iron Shell points out that We Three is kind of like Watership Down. Somebody was asking like what some of my favorite books were the other night. That's one of them. I really like Watership Down. It's the Odyssey, but with rabbits, which you wouldn't think would necessarily work, but it works amazingly well. A bunch of rabbits have to find a new home, and it's kind of cool. They've got their own mythologies that they follow. They've got like a lot of challenges ahead of them. They've got like people that each sort of specialize in different areas. Like, there's a mystic, there's the leader, there's like the fighter. It's really cool. They get like other animals as allies temporarily. Yeah, Watership Down's pretty cool. Inking can be tougher than drawing sometimes. It definitely can be. I feel like I don't always make the right choices, and that's why I like doing Inktober, just to like sort of see what works and what doesn't. It's definitely a challenge to figure out what techniques to use where. Especially for comics, because comics are so... everything's shorthand when you really look at it. Nobody has like hard black lines to outline. Like if you look at how I am here, like there's no black line here separating my shoulder from the wall. Even if I turned this whole image into gray, there's no hard black line. But we do things like that in comics because it's like a shorthand that helps us. But then on top of that, there's the challenge of like, where do we put, you know, our shading? Where do we put our cross hatching to indicate textures and shadows? It's pretty weird stuff. Pretty weird. Be nice day if it doesn't rain. Has everybody out there seen the movie American Movie? It's like a documentary about a guy from either Minnesota or Milwaukee. I don't know, somewhere up north. And what a cast of characters it is. My kitty. Yes, okay, good. Some of you have seen American Movie. I ask because at this point it's you know, kind of old. It's like, I'm trying to think, like it's got to be like 20 years old. Who's my personal favorite horror icon? It's not a mockumentary. It's not a mockumentary. It's a real documentary. It's funny, but it's real. Those characters, none of those people are acting. If that's what you thought, no, like that is real. Look it up. It's definitely real. Today you see lots of post-production and inking, mainly letting the inner lines in faces and lighter stuff, lots of things. What is your opinion on Tom King? Will you ever make a video on him? I probably will make a video on Tom King. Personally, I've liked what I've read by him. I really liked Mr. Miracle. That was unexpected, and that was pretty cool and weird. I like most of what he's done on Batman, and I really liked The Vision. His series The Vision, like just sort of trying to show this like artificial family trying to live like real people, like, and that they actually all have problems. I don't know, it's just that sort of idea of suburbia tries always to hide its, you know, like foibles and stuff. Oh yeah, Comic Book the Movie. That was a funny mockumentary then. One jump up? No? Is Ringu 2 or the alternate sequel Spiral better? Oh man, it's been so long since I watched those. That came out so long ago, and I saw it when it was new. I think I remember liking Ringu 2 better, but I can only remember like snippets of imagery. Like I can't remember the story on either one anymore. It's been too long. Yeah, I would do Scott Snyder at some point for sure. Will I do another Junji Ito episode? I'd have to think about that one. I'd love to, but I don't know. Like there's just so many other things competing for attention. I'll give it you attention soon, Chibi. Bringing things back to Jim Zub, who seems to be the only one to do something with the events of the Vision. Yeah, you're kind of right. Favorite Hellboy character? Hellboy himself. Do an episode on your cat. Hey, Chibi, you want to come be famous? No? Okay. A Tomy breakdown would be cool. Maybe. The Ring never had a good sequel. Kind of true. But I saw all the Japanese ones at the time because I was like just fiending for like that sort of scares and surprise. And the closest I got to it was watching the original Grudge. Because like again, like I got like sort of creeped out and surprised by some of that. But I'm curious to see. I don't have Shudder, so I haven't seen this. But I would love to see. They made a movie with like crossing over the Ring with the Grudge, and like the main characters like trick the two evil spirits into fighting each other. It's called Sadako versus Kayako. Yeah, I saw Midsummer. It was pretty good. Which superhero has your favorite supporting cast? Probably Spider-Man. I like all of Spider-Man's supporting cast. I think I'm going to call it here, folks. it's getting late, and I do have work tomorrow. It's been a really long day as well, so I hope you understand. I think I got the gist of what I wanted to out in this illustration. Maybe in the future I'll have like more time one of these evenings, and I can like go in with some Copics or something, and like add some real texture to it. I would love to be able to do that. It's all a matter of time. I need to give my cat some attention, and I need to get to sleep. But I really do appreciate everybody being here, and I appreciate the super chats. Okay, Care Bear has a good question. What's tomorrow's prompt? Let's pull that up. Try not to come up with my idea until just before, but let's see. Frail. So far, I've been doing all horror themed, and I would, as a personal challenge, I'm curious if I can sort of keep with specifically like famous horror movie type ideas. I feel like I didn't do a great job on the second day, but I'll try to think of somebody that's sort of frail within horror movies. That's an interesting challenge. I'll think about it. Mumra. Well, as a mummy, the mummy is actually a pretty cool idea. I'll give that a little thought. But I'm going to definitely take off, folks. Thank you so much. Until I see you next time, I want you to keep reading comics. Take care. See you later.